to Miss Engel in a unique charter school program in Brooklyn, New York called Uncommon Schools. It serves children in kindergarten through grade 4. The school's purpose is to close the achievement gap for low-income students and set them on course to one day graduate from college. It is lovely that Sarah returns to her elementary school on the eve of the beginning of her teaching career. We applaud her choice. We can all look forward to Sarah's wisdom and reflections tonight. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Sarah Engel. This happened last year, too.
There we go, the purple one.
The purple one. Enjoy.
Mr. Wales, Board of Trustees, faculty, staff, administrators, families, and friends. I am incredibly honored and humbled to join you this evening to celebrate the commencement exercises in recognition of Gordon School's class of 2013. To the graduates, congratulations on reaching this milestone. I applaud you for your impressive record of achievement in academics, the arts, and athletics. But more importantly, I recognize you as a group of dedicated, passionate, and caring members of the Gordon community. You leave behind a legacy of friendship and service that will be remembered far longer than any of your conventional accomplishments. Now, I would love to share with you a story about a note I once received and how its words eventually changed my life. The morning of my high school graduation, I woke up to a letter from my father tucked underneath my pillow. My dad, Rick Engel, is incredibly gentle, caring, and kind-hearted, and this tooth fairy-like act was typical of him in several ways. Rick is a Gordon Gator himself, class of '69, and his teachers would surely have described him as a bubbly and gregarious youngster with a silly sense of humor. Anyone who has met my dad finds him positively hilarious, but those who know him well recognize that he is actually more introverted, a trait that is demonstrated through his reserved and reflective behavior. Under his Groucho Marx mustache is a smile so sincere and heartwarming that you just want to hug him and be his best friend. He also loves his family so deeply, so passionately, and so selflessly that it's safe to say my father thought long and hard about what to write in that ceremonial note. Writing this letter must have been a bit daunting for him. I mean, his daughter was graduating from high school, about to enter her first year of college, and he had only a small piece of paper on which to impart a lifetime's worth of knowledge and advice. And as a member of Brown University's class of 2011, I would be moving a whole 2 miles away from my childhood home. So I certainly needed all the advice I could get about how to best live a life on my own without my parents. In this letter, my dad laid out his best advice for the next big chapter in my life. Spend time in the dining hall, the Greek houses, and the library, he wrote. That way you'll learn about people, not just academics. He emphasized the importance of living in the moment and the dangers of focusing on career ambitions too early on. He included several other token phrases such as embrace the unknown, change is good, and try as many new experiences as possible. But on the last line, capitalized and double underlined, he wrote, be good to yourself, Sarah. Do something you love. Be good to yourself. Do something you love. So simple. And as I read this letter now and reflect on the past few years of my life, I become almost overcome with emotion at how apt my father was. Bottom line, my dad genuinely wanted me to be happy. He didn't include any advice on how to succeed in academia or the workplace. He knew I had the skills to accomplish those conventional sorts of goals. But the skills to make myself happy, I didn't really have those yet. So his antidote, it was to do something I loved, and happiness would follow. At the time of my high school graduation, his final and most important piece of advice didn't really resonate with me. The sentiment seemed sweet, the notion of doing something for pleasure to make myself happy, but also a bit silly. After all, academics had been the primary source of enjoyment for my entire life. Now, I know this sounds totally normal for an 8-year-old to describe her number one hobby as studying. But my love of learning was certainly cultivated here at Gordon, where I was taught to be eager, curious, and a bit skeptical. I loved the collaborative nature of Gordon's classroom and the challenge to always think critically and outside of the box. College just seemed like a continuation of what I loved to do, to learn and to study. So that's what I did. But unfortunately, my early college years were defined more by grades and GPA points than by intellectual curiosity. Intense and quite intolerable anxiety accompanied the extreme pressure I placed on myself to be perfect, and sometimes I literally felt like I was going crazy. I believe we get sucked into the exhausting and unrelenting quest for perfection for a very simple reason. We think perfection will protect us. It's the belief that if we look perfect and act perfect and talk perfect, we can avoid the pain of judgment, blame, and shame. But in actuality, we are just hiding from ourselves. At Brown, I sadly spent many more hours in the library than I did in the dining halls or the social houses. I needed to find a way to break free from the imprisoning belief that my self-worth was only a function of my performance in the classroom. So what happened next? The spring of my freshman year, I began coaching lacrosse here at the Gordon School. I love being active, spending time outdoors, and being around middle schoolers, so the job was a perfect fit for me. To be honest, I had always envisioned coming back to Gordon to coach, since athletics played such a formative role in my adolescence, helping foster confidence and self-esteem. I distinctly remember how much I looked up to my college-age coaches, so I wanted to be responsible for impacting my girls in the same positive way. I coached an incredible group of girls over those 4 years. My scholar athletes were hardworking, talented, loyal, passionate, and outgoing. I found the job wonderfully mutually reinforcing. I could not only see how much of an impact I was having on my team, but the admiration and respect they showed me made me feel extremely validated as a trusted and reliable role model. They made me feel like a worthy human being, a type of worthiness that was completely detached from my perfect performance in the classroom. I experienced such a sense of joy and ease those sunny days coaching outside. When I took the job, I had not envisioned how much I would love coaching. I had not predicted how happy it would make me. Martin Seligman, one of the leading researchers in the field of positive psychology, describes happiness as having 3 parts: pleasure, engagement, and meaning. Pleasure is the visceral feel-good part of happiness. Engagement refers to living a good life of work, family, friends, and hobbies. Meaning alludes to using our strengths to contribute to a larger purpose. Research has demonstrated that living life with meaning can make the greatest difference in experiencing authentic happiness. Now, Seligman's definition highlights what had been missing for me and what my dad had been getting at. My intense, success-oriented lifestyle left little time for me to pursue activities that made me feel like I was affecting my community in a positive and impactful way. Deep within me, as I believe there is in all of us, is an intense longing to be connected, to feel loved, and to give back. We are biologically, psychologically, and spiritually wired to love, to be loved, and to belong. When those needs aren't met, our brains and bodies don't function as they were meant to. We break, we fall apart, we numb out, we get sick. We seek out peripheral activities to distract from our aching needs. Fulfilling these natural desires and being honest about our needs often necessitates courage and compassion. As Mr. Wales explained, after college, I pursued a career in retail, buying children's clothing for Bloomingdale's. And although I have enjoyed the challenge of managing my own business, I didn't feel whole. I wasn't doing work that I loved. I still ached from within. I needed more than a paycheck or prestige from my career. I needed to feel like what I was doing was making people's lives better. I longed for that warm glow that I experienced coaching on the sidelines here at Gordon. So 6 years ago, my dad encouraged me to do something I loved and to be good to myself. I am so thrilled, ecstatic, elated, and every synonym of the word excited that next year I will be teaching elementary school at a charter in Brooklyn. My coaching experience made me realize that true happiness for me stems from interacting with people, acknowledging and validating their emotions, and helping them cultivate skills to maximize their potential. My Gordon teachers were my role models and mentors who helped develop the healthy hearts and minds of my classmates and me. They nourished my intellectual potential while helping improve my self-esteem. Nothing gives me greater satisfaction than the prospect of developing into that type of educator. I recently asked our 8th grade class, what activities make you happy? Their range of answers demonstrates how varied the class of 2013's interests are. Dancing, sailing, karate, cooking, fencing, directing movies, DJing, and being with friends, just to name a few. Many 8th graders remarked that their passions are integral parts of their identities and that they wouldn't feel whole without them. So I drink this really delicious brand of tea whose tea tags are stamped with these inspirational and motivational quotes, and you can't make something like this up, but at breakfast this morning, mine said, "Be so happy that when others look at you, they become happy too." Graduates, I encourage you to keep doing things that you love. Do not acquiesce to others' expectations for you. I wholeheartedly agree with Steve Jobs when he explained, the only way to do great work is to do what you love. If you haven't found it yet, it's okay, keep looking. Don't settle. Class of 2013, the world is your oyster. You have wonderful lives awaiting you. But first, take perfection out of your vocabulary. Act honestly on your needs. And do what makes you truly happy. Congratulations, and thank you again for this incredible honor.